BK Racing, 2012 to 2018. A Monster Energy Cup Series team founded by Ron Devine in 2012. BK Racing ran cars number 83 and 23 with drivers like Landon Castle, David Reutemann, and J.J. Yeley. The team struggled competitively and financially. The books revealed only around $1.5 million in assets against approximately $37.7 million in liabilities, and over $44 million in creditor claims. In February 2018, BK Racing filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Amid allegations, Devine and Associated Trusts diverted roughly $6.4 million pre-petition transfers from the team, funds hidden from creditors. A court-appointed trustee oversaw the sale of BK's charter and assets to Front Row Motorsports, ending the team's tumultuous run. JD Motorsports, 1983 to 2024. JD Motorsports was a long-running Xfinity Series team owned by Johnny Davis, fielding multiple Chevrolets and launching careers for drivers like Ross Chastain and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Despite decades in the sport, JDM hit a severe financial crisis in 2024, amassing roughly $422,000 in unpaid bills. The team filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in April 2024, then laid off most staff and withdrew entries mid-season. Unable to secure new sponsorship or investment, JD Motorsports ceased operations that year, ending a 40-plus-year presence in NASCAR's secondary series. Stewart-Haas Racing, 2002 to 2024. Co-owned by Tony Stewart and Ginn Haas, SHR was a Premier Cup Series team that won 70 Cup races and 2 Cup championships, 2011 and 2014, over 16 full seasons. In 2024, however, SHR's fortunes waned due to sponsorship losses, notably Smithfield Foods and Anheuser-Busch, and the end of its Ford factory support. Facing an unsustainable budget, Stewart and Haas announced the team would shut down after the 2024 season. The closure left hundreds of employees jobless, though Ginn Haas soon backed a smaller Haas factory team as a successor. Michael Waltrip Racing, 2007 to 2015. MWR debuted in the Cup Series as a Toyota-backed team with 3 full-time cars. Early financial struggles forced owner Michael Waltrip to sell a 50% stake to investor Rob Kaufman in 2007. MWR became competitive. Clint Bowyer was second in points in 2012, but a 2013 race-fixing scandal led to sponsor Napa's departure. By 2015, with insufficient sponsorship and Kaufman withdrawing support, the team's finances collapsed. MWR shut down after 2015, releasing Bowyer and selling its charters, an outcome Waltrip attributed to not enough sponsorship to ensure long-term viability. Red Bull Racing, 2006 to 2011. The Red Bull Racing team, Team Red Bull, fielded the numbers 83 and 84, later 4, Toyotas in the Cup Series for drivers like Brian Vickers, AJ Allmendinger, Scott Speed, and Casey Kane. Despite 2 Cup wins, Red Bull's ownership ended its NASCAR venture after 2011 amid poor results and high costs. The team could not find a new investor and officially suspended operations on December 8, 2011. Its remaining assets, including cars and equipment, were sold to startup BK Racing, marking a complete exit driven by Red Bull GmbH's funding withdrawal. Furniture Row Racing, 2005 to 2018. Based in Denver, FRR rose from a single-car underdog to the 2017 Cup Series champion with Martin Truex Jr. The team was owned by Barney Visser, who largely self-funded it through his furniture business. After losing a major co-sponsor, 5 Hour Energy, for 2019, Visser announced the painful decision to shut the team at 2018's end. Without sufficient external sponsorship to cover the high costs of a top-tier operation, FRR ceased operations despite being in championship form. The team's charter was sold to Spire Motorsports, ending one of NASCAR's most remarkable small team success stories. Swan Racing, 2011 to 2014. Originally founded as Inception Motorsports in 2011, the team was rebranded as Swan Racing in 2012 under new owner Brandon Davis. Swan attempted 2 full-time cars in 2014 for rookies Cole Witt, number 26, and Parker Kligerman, number 30. By April 2014, 8 races into the season, Swan ran out of funding and could no longer operate. The team abruptly shut down, selling its number 26 team, including owner points and assets, to BK Racing and its number 30 to Extreme Motorsports. Kligerman was left without a ride, illustrating the perils of inadequate sponsorship for new Cup operations. Leavine Family Racing, 2011 to 2020. LFR was a small Cup Series team owned by Bob Leavine, initially running part-time before going full-time with the number 95 car, drivers like Michael McDowell, Casey Kane, and Christopher Bell. The economic fallout of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic dealt a fatal blow to LFR's budget. Leavine cited the pandemic's impact on his family business and the costly NASCAR model, saying, "That's just not something we are able to overcome." In August 2020, LFR sold its charter and assets to Spire Motorsports and closed after the season, despite having technical support from Joe Gibbs Racing. Germain Racing, 2004 to 2020. Germain started in the Truck Series, winning 2 truck championships, and moved to Cup full-time in 2009 with the number 13 Geico-sponsored car. Drivers included Casey Mears and Ty Dillon. After Geico decided to end its team sponsorship in 2020, owner Bob Germain Jr. had no primary funding for 2021. Germain announced that without Geico, a partner for over a decade, the team didn't have a sponsor signed for 2021 and would have to shut down. The team's charter was sold to the new 2311 racing team of Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, and Germain Racing closed at the end of 2020. Petty Enterprises, 1949 to 2008. The legendary team of Lee and Richard Petty amassed 268 Cup wins and 10 championships, but fell on hard times in the 2000s. After 2008, Petty Enterprises lost key sponsors for its number 43 and 45 cars, General Mills and others, and struggled to secure funding for the next season. In January 2009, with no sponsorship to continue, Petty Enterprises merged into Gillette Evernham, forming Richard Petty Motorsports, and effectively ceased independent operations. The merger ended the Petty team's 60-year run, a direct result of financial collapse despite its storied legacy. Ginn Racing, MB2 Motorsports, 1997 to 2007. This mid-pack Cup team, originally MB2 Motorsports, was rebranded by new owner Bobby Ginn in 2007. Ginn invested heavily but failed to land enough sponsorship, putting the team in financial trouble by mid-2007. In July 2007, Ginn Racing shut down 2 of its 3 Cup cars, the number 13 of Joe Nemechek and number 14 of Sterling Marlin, due to lack of funding. Ginn hastily merged the remaining number 1 team with Dale Earnhardt Inc. to keep it running. The merger saved some assets, but Ginn's organization effectively collapsed under unsustainable costs and was absorbed into DEI's operations. Bill Davis Racing, 1993 to 2008. BDR fielded the number 22 Caterpillar car in the Cup Series for years, with drivers like Ward Burton, and ran a successful Truck Series program. By late 2008, owner Bill Davis had lost his longtime sponsor. Caterpillar left after 2008 and was unable to secure funding for 2009. Struggling to keep the team afloat, Davis sold majority ownership of his team and engine company to investors in December 2008. The new owners, Triad Racing Technologies, did not continue the Cup team the next season. Essentially, BDR folded due to a fruitless search for sponsorship and mounting financial strain. TriStar Motorsports, 1989 to 2019 part-time. TriStar was a family-owned team that primarily competed in NASCAR's Xfinity Series and occasionally in Cup on a part-time basis. Under owner Mark Smith, TriStar ran full Xfinity schedules, fielding cars for drivers like Eric McClure and Mike Bliss, and a limited Cup effort, the number 72 Chevy, in the mid-2000s and 10s. After Smith's death in 2017, the operation struggled to continue. By 2019, TriStar had quietly ceased racing, with its last Cup start in 2018. The shutdown was attributed to lack of funding and leadership. The team had no major sponsors after Smith's passing, forcing it to close its doors. Rusty Wallace Racing, 2004 to 2011, Xfinity. NASCAR Hall of Famer Rusty Wallace owned a 2-car nationwide Xfinity Series team that fielded the numbers 66 and 62 for his sons Steve Wallace and Michael Annett. After 2011, RWR's budget fell short. 5-hour energy left for Cup, and Wallace couldn't secure enough new sponsorship. In January 2012, Rusty announced he was temporarily suspending the team, effectively shutting it down due to insufficient funding. He noted they had some backing, e.g. Pilot Flying J for Annett, but not enough to accomplish all of our goals. Refusing to dip into personal savings to cover the deficit, Wallace released the employees and helped his drivers find other rides. HScott Motorsports, 2010 to 2014. TSM was a prominent nationwide and Truck Series team, fielding drivers like Kyle Larson, Justin Allgaier, and Ron Hornaday Jr., co-owned by Steve Turner and Harry Scott Jr. The team unraveled in 2014 amid an internal financial dispute. Turner and Scott accused each other of mismanaging funds. Scott claimed Turner stopped funding obligations and allowed debts to pile up. In August 2014, TSM shut down Hornaday's championship-contending truck team due to lack of funding, laying off 18 employees. By season's end, the remaining teams were dissolved. Scott went on to focus on his Cup venture, HScott Motorsports, but Turner-Scott Motorsports collapsed under lawsuits and money shortfalls. Red Horse Racing, 2005 to 2017. A top NASCAR Truck Series team, Red Horse won 16 truck races with drivers like Timothy Peters. Owner Tom DeLoach funded the two-truck operation, numbers 17 and 7, largely out of pocket in later years as sponsorship grew scarce. In May 2017, Red Horse Racing abruptly suspended operations despite Peters being fourth in points, citing a lack of funding. DeLoach said, "I tried as long as I could, but I may be building a bridge to nowhere without sponsors." The team had no choice but to close immediately, and its employees were told to seek other jobs. This highlighted how even a competitive truck team fell victim to the financial crunch. Bobby Hamilton Racing, 1997 to 2008. Founded by the late Bobby Hamilton Sr., this truck series team, once known as BHR Virginia, won the 2004 Truck Championship. After Hamilton's passing in 2007, the team continued under his family but lost factory backing. Dodge ended its sponsorship of BHR after 2008, leaving the team with a funding void. BHR downsized from 2 trucks to 1 during 2008 and still could not sustain operations. In late 2008, the team announced it would cease operations entirely. Despite 20 truck wins to its credit, BHR could not survive the economic downturn and sponsor pullout, closing its doors at the end of that season. Brad Keselowski Racing, 2008 to 2017. BKR fielded multiple trucks, numbers 19 and 29, for up-and-coming drivers like Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Cindric, earning 11 truck wins. Team owner Brad Keselowski decided to shut down BKR after the 2017 season as part of his long-term plans. Keselowski, who sought to eventually move into Cup ownership, said he didn't have the resources to make the truck team a sustained contender, and it's tougher to justify losing money as he looked toward the future. Profitability was an issue. He admitted the team never made money, though he insisted that was only one factor. BKR closed in November 2017, with Keselowski reallocating efforts to his Cup endeavors. HScott Motorsports, 2015 to 2016. Harry Scott Jr.'s Cup Series team, formerly Phoenix Racing, ran the numbers 51 and 46 Chevrolets, with Justin Allgaier and Clint Bowyer among its drivers. HSM struggled to attract sponsorship and competitive results. Both primary backers left after 2016. Bowyer departed, taking sponsor 5 Hour Energy, and Michael Annette's sponsor moved elsewhere. Facing no funding for 2017, Scott sold his charters. One went to Furniture Row's new number 77 team and announced HScott Motorsports would not compete in 2017. Essentially, HSM folded in late 2016 due to the financial void left by its departing drivers and sponsors, making continued operation untenable. Morgan-McClure Motorsports, 1983 to 2007. Famous for its Kodak-sponsored No. 4 Chevrolet that won 3 Daytona 500s, with Ernie Irvan and Sterling Marlin. Triple M's golden era faded after Kodak left in 2004. The team attempted to continue with smaller sponsors and part-time schedules, but by early 2008 it was in dire straits. Weeks before the 2008 Daytona 500, Morgan-McClure shut down due to financial problems, with Larry McClure saying he was tired of barely scraping by without major sponsorship. They skipped the 2008 season, aside from one-off attempts, and never returned full-time. A proud 25-year Cup team thus ended in a financial whimper, unable to find the funding to race competitively. Which of these team collapses shocked you the most? And do you think NASCAR should step in more to protect smaller teams from going under? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching the NASCAR Explainer.